Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the fourth in our presentation series with Capital Blue Cross. This presentation by Janice Berry from Capital is about healthy weight loss. Thank you, Janice.
Thanks so much. All right, so I'm very happy to be here with you today. As you can see up on the screen, we're going to be talking a lot about healthy weight loss, really key factors to lose weight and to also keep off the weight as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about managing weight. So we're going to dive right into it since we have a half hour together today. There's quite a bit of material that we have to get through. So first things first, you can see the agenda just noted up on the screen here. Really briefly, we're going to talk about some of the risks of being overweight and obese. Secondly, we're going to understand what it takes to lose weight and actually keep it off. Third, we're going to talk about developing eating habits to improve your health and manage weight. And lastly, again, just really briefly, touching base on the importance of exercise and fitness as well. We need both components there in order to lose weight healthfully, healthy eating as well as exercising. All right. So we're going to talk about what actually defines overweight and obesity and get into some of the risks here. So you can see defining overweight and obesity. You've probably heard of maybe some of these numbers before. So overweight is a BMI of a 25 to 29. So does anybody know the healthy range actually, where we should be? So obviously under 25. So it's about 18.5 to 24.9 is that healthy range category. Okay, so you can see obesity is considered a 30 to a 39, and then morbid obese is a 40 plus. So BMI is our body mass index. It's an indicator that a lot of providers use. We see it a lot. You hear some controversy about the BMI out there just because of it doesn't take muscle into consideration, but that's really only in really kind of overwhelming scenarios. So NFL football players probably not the best to take their BMI because they have so much muscle, but for your average everyday person, BMI is a really great indicator. You can see also up on the screen, so the waist circumference is another way to measure. So for men, defining overweight or obesity, that would be greater than 40 inches, and for women, that's greater than 35. So under those numbers is considered a healthy weight. Okay, so you've probably heard of some risks before of overweight and obesity, right? Yeah, so we can see a lot of these up on the screen here. Some of them we're probably pretty familiar with. I just like to point out a few of these. Really, number one noted up there is heart disease. Heart disease is the number one killer of men and women in the U.S. today, and a lot of that really stems from the overweight and obesity crisis. So that's really something to be aware of. With heart disease, things like our cholesterol levels can be affected, and you can see that up on the screen as well. Our blood pressure, and that increases our risk for stroke. So a lot of these really tie in together. I'll point out cancer there. There is some research that shows that being overweight and obese can increase your cancer risk. It's not for every type of cancer. Obviously genetics, family history, they run into that category as well. But there is some research to show that having a larger body mass can increase your risk for cancer. And then obviously one last one that I'll point out there is diabetes. So we'll talk a little bit about sugar as we go throughout the day today, but that's definitely one that we want to be aware of for sure because diabetes is very, very prevalent in the U.S. today. Okay, so weight loss. Let's do a little quiz here. So just shout out the answers, whatever you think. True or false? Dietary fat makes you gain weight.
Yeah, true.
It's actually false. We'll talk about this as we go. True or false? Carbohydrates make you gain weight.
True.
This is false. And we'll talk about that as we go. Don't worry, we'll clarify. So true or false? Too many calories eaten make you gain weight. That is true, absolutely. So it's not the specific food group itself. Too many of something can, we can run into problems that way. So too many calories in this case is definitely something that will increase weight and, hinder managing weight as well. So really focusing on calories today is what we're going to be discussing. All right, so this is kind of a nice little equation here. So you can see up on the screen weight loss. It's really kind of simply put, it's less calories eaten than calories burned. And then also more calories burned than calories eaten. And then weight gain, the opposite side of the spectrum, more calories eaten than calories burned. So you're taking in more calories than your body is burning off. That would be considered weight gain. And less calories burned than calories eaten. So you can see kind of the little equation there between the two. So obviously we want to make sure that we're eating enough calories for our bodies, but we're also burning those extra calories that we may be intaking through food. Okay, so you've seen fad diets out there. Should we be losing 10 pounds in 1 week? Absolutely not. That is not the healthy way to lose weight. I know it sounds really, great, but that's the problem with some of the fad diets, and we'll talk about those in a little bit here. Healthy weight loss is really considered a half a pound to 1 to 2 pounds per week. Okay, so that sounds not so much, right? But you can see up on the screen there, 1 pound of fat is equal to 3,500 calories. So you can see it takes a lot to burn off, those calories to lose just 1 pound of fat. So is healthy weight loss easy? No. It's not going to be super easy. It's going to take hard work, and that's something, to be aware of, because, we see things like the fad diets out there, you take a pill and this weight's just going to fall off. Well, that might work for a little bit, but what happens when you stop taking that pill? That's the problem. So this is really healthy weight loss, and it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. You can see I like that last bullet point there. So more than 2 pounds lost per week can be linked to water weight and or muscle mass. So in the first few maybe beginning days or weeks of maybe your weight loss journey, you might actually be losing more than that half pound to 2 pounds per week. It's really linked to that water weight, okay? And what do you think you might be decreasing to decrease your water, or to lose some of that water weight? Think about something that you might add to food products. Yes, salt. So we see a drop in sodium, and that's linked to that water weight. If you're consistently losing more than those 2 pounds, that's linked to that muscle mass, and that's something that we want to be aware of. Okay, so these are some examples of healthy weight loss. Okay, so it's recommended to eat 500 calories less per day. So overall, in general, average everyday Americans, they should be eating about 2,000 calories. All right, so if you're trying to lose weight, you want to cut back about 500 of those. So you'd be eating about 1,500. Okay, you can see I like this way better, eating 250 calories less and then exercising to burn that extra 250 off. So you're not consuming quite as much, but it's not as little as that 500. And then you're burning that extra activity off as well. So I like that example there. Okay, so I mentioned these a little bit already, but this is something that we just see so prevalent now, and it really is something to be aware of. So have you ever heard of the keto diet before? Yeah. So keto diet was really made for individuals who have epilepsy. It was made for individuals with a certain condition, that condition. And it gets out there and things spread and we see success with it, but it is not healthy for our bodies. The keto diet is extremely, extremely low carb. We need carbs in our diet, and carbs also come from things like fruits and vegetables. Okay, so when we're going so extreme, we can really lead to things like nutrient deficiencies, can lead to a lot of different health problems. Okay, so we really want to be aware of these fad diets. What's a key indicator of a fad diet? What do you think? How can we spot them?
Is what the quick weight loss, or?
Yeah, so some of the key words. So, lose weight fast, or lose weight, without having to exercise. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And they're really pushed by the media also. So if you see, your favorite celebrity endorsing this product, remember that your favorite celebrity probably has about 3 personal trainers that they're working with as well, and a probably very strict diet that they're on. They're not probably just using that product that they're supporting. They're getting money for endorsing that. So those are some of the key kind of spotters of fad diets. So we want to make sure that we are being cautious of those. The problem that we see is that you might be on them for 30 days, you'll see success, you get off, You don't really know how to choose healthy foods choices. You don't really know what to look for, your food labels, things along those lines, and then you can end up gaining that weight back, and in the long run, potentially even more, is really what research shows us. Okay, so we talked a little bit about just some of the calories that we should be cutting back. So let's talk a little bit more detail with losing weight healthfully. So what do you think, what can we do to lose weight and keep it off? What are some things that we could do? So we talked about calories already, and that's a big part of losing weight.
Drink plenty of water.
Exercise, drinking more water. Okay, absolutely. We'll talk about each of those as we go today. So these are really considered the 5 ways to lose. Okay, this is what research really shows us what we need to do in order to lose weight healthfully and successfully. So we'll go through each one of these individually here. And we did talk about calories a little bit already. So remembering back to that equation. So weight loss is simply eating less calories than you burn. Calories add up quickly, so they are difficult. So looking at your food labels, okay, take a look at how many calories are in your food products, okay, and really keeping track of them. We'll talk about writing as we bite here. That's a really effective method to lose weight and to keep it off. So really being aware of your caloric intake throughout the day is extremely important. So where do they exactly come from? And you can see this just kind of breaks down a little bit with the food groups here. So obviously the highest calorie value is which one up there? Yes, you got it, which makes sense, right? So we should be limiting our fat sources, and it's clearly because they're higher in calories. So you can see 9 calories per 1 gram. So things like butter, okay, oil, your coffee creamers, those are some easy examples. Alcohol is next, so something to be aware of. Okay, there are quite a bit of calories. Now, obviously, if you're getting lower calorie choices, which there are out there, that is a better solution. But alcohol, there's 7 calories per 1 gram. We can see protein, 4 calories per 1 gram, and then carbs, again, 4 calories per 1 gram. So everything has calories, okay? What we want to be cautious of is obviously the fat and our fat sources. So we want to eat more of those unsaturated fats, those heart healthy fats for you. They're going to be lower in calories, as opposed to some of the examples that we see up on the screen here, those saturated fats, which are going to be higher in those calories.
I'm surprised we don't see sugars up there. I know carbohydrates can go in.
Yep, you got it. Yep.
That's where it is.
Yep, you got it. Okay, so this is a really, really great resource to use. So this is a MyPlate calculator. This is on choosemyplate.gov, and I do have a handout with me for those of you in the room today. But this is really a kind of a daily eating checklist. So what's really nice about this is it goes over kind of finding your own eating style. So what's nice is when you go to the website, you'll actually input your age, your height, your weight, and then how much activity, and it'll give you how many calories you should actually be eating in a day. So it's really nice. This is just kind of the standard 2,000 calories, but this can vary from person to person. So it does go over the food groups and the amounts, again, for the 2,000 calories a day. And we'll talk a little bit about portions as we go here, but it's just kind of noting this. It does tell us what to limit. So it talks a little bit about drinking and eating less sodium, saturated fats, and added sugars. And you can see it breaks it down here. So for sodium, limit to 2,300 milligrams a day, which is a teaspoon. Saturated fat to 22 grams a day, and added sugars to 50 grams a day. And those standards come from the USDA. Added sugars, there's another resource that I like to use as well. American Heart Association has some good recommendations. They cut sugar even lower for your added sugar, okay? And that's not coming from fruit, just keep that in mind, that's natural sugar. Added sugar is what they're adding to the food products. So American Heart Association says about 35 to 25 grams a day. For women, it's about 25, men, it's about 35. And then we can see kind of on the back side and up on the screen here, this is your daily checklist. So this would be one really good way to kind of start tracking exactly what you're eating, how much you're limiting your food, how much how many portions you're eating in a day. So this is a really nice tracking method. So I always highly, highly encourage you to use this because we see that research shows us writing as we bite is definitely an effective method to lose weight and lose weight healthfully. Okay, so what do you think about portions? Is that important? Absolutely. So you guys might have seen this before. This is really kind of the new food pyramid. So this is my plate. This comes from the USDA, okay? This is a really great visual, okay? It's a little bit bigger than our standard size plates, okay? So it's just really good tool though to kind of portion out your food products. Do you think you need to get these at every single meal? Each one of these food groups?
Not every meal.
Not every meal, okay? So we want to think about three for your meals, okay? So for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Where you want to get the other two, okay, is your snacks throughout the day. So keep that in mind, because I know when we look at this, it can be a little overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, well, I don't have fruit for dinner. I only have vegetables, grains, and protein. That's okay. So know throughout your snacks to focus on dairy and fruit, okay? So that's how you kind of divvy up those portions. But this is a really nice visual. So portions are typically going to be about half a cup to a cup, and that's really filling our plate, okay? So obviously, your fruits and vegetables, we want to be half your plate, and then quarter of your plate are the greens and the protein, okay? So this is a really nice visual. Start kind of filling your plate in this type of way, and you'll really see it can be a really effective method. So I always like this. I like this resource.
Can you buy one of those plates?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure you could probably find one on Amazon, and Health Ed Co. also is a good place to go as well. Okay, so these are just kind of fun things here for us. So I'll let you guys kind of think about this a little bit. So how many calories do you think this meal consists of? So we have an Italian meal. It's salad, bread, 3 breadsticks, wine, 2 glasses, and then pasta with meatballs. How many calories do you think this might be? This is about 1,900 calories, okay, itself. So something to really be aware of. What could we possibly maybe do to cut back some of the calories in this picture?
You could cut half of the pasta,
Absolutely.
1 glass of wine,
Yes,
and 1 breadstick.
you got it. Perfect. Absolutely. So, you can go out to eat and you can enjoy a meal. It's being smart about how much we're eating, how much we're consuming, cutting that meal in half, having that 1 glass of wine, incorporating water with that, only going for 1 breadstick or maybe even no breadstick at all since you're having pasta, and focusing on that salad, okay? So there are some things that we can do. We want to be aware of how much we're consuming. Obviously comes with our portion sizes as well when we're thinking about that plate.
That's a lot of spaghetti.
Yes, it is. How about this one? So we've got a double quarter pounder with cheese, a medium fries, and a medium Coke. How many calories do you think this one is?
2,300.
A little bit lower than that. So it's about 1375. Okay? So what can we do here?
Cut out the soda,
Okay?
only half the fries.
Okay?
I would eat the whole hamburger.
So cut it. Okay, so you're making a little bit of a solution there.
Fries and get a salad.
Yeah. So we could obviously substitute the French fries for a healthier side option. But even if you wanted the French fries, even going for a small French fry instead of that medium, instead of the double quarter pounder with cheese, even just a regular hamburger, okay, and cutting out that cheese, okay, because the cheese has a lot of calories itself, especially if you're going to a fast food restaurant. That's usually American cheese, which American cheese is really just kind of a food product that America has created. It's not really specifically cheese itself, okay? So definitely some things that we can do here as well. Last one here. How many calories do you think? So this is a large movie theater popcorn, a large soda, and 4 Twizzlers.
Well, the Twizzlers is a low-fat snack.
Yeah, they don't have too many calories themselves.
The soda, the popcorn's definitely too big.
Yes. Yeah, so this is about 1,580 calories. Okay, so obviously, you go to the movie theater. You probably don't go there all the time if you go. Just knowing, being smart, sharing that big popcorn. I don't know, I've never eaten a large popcorn myself. I think that I would be really sick. But just be aware, because this will add up. And that's the thing, if you're doing these things consistently, so if you do go out to eat to restaurants a lot, if you do go to fast food, if you do, happen to go to different events where different, snacks like popcorn, hot dogs, things along those lines are there, that's what we're really trying to show here, is just being cautious. If you do these things every once in a while, is it as bad? No. We can splurge every once in a while, but just being smart about your choices. Okay, so it's kind of a fun little activity there. So kind of taking it back, so we can see how calories are so important, especially with our portion sizes. So this is a really good kind of visual of getting to know your portions. All right, so you can see it's kind of broken down. We can see the portion itself and then what it actually looks like. So your meats, about 3 to 4 ounces, a deck of cards, also the palm of your hand. Okay, pasta, half a cup, looks like half a baseball. Baked potato, a smaller medium, a computer mouse. Cheese, 1 ounce equals 4 dice. Vegetable, 1 cup is a baseball, and then fruit is a tennis ball. So you can see those two are a little bit bigger because they're so low calories. So it's a really nice kind of visual, just breaking down your portion sizes. And again, thinking it back to kind of this plate. These are the portions that would fill your plate, okay? All right, so we talked about this a little bit already, but this is the #1 method that research shows us that individuals are successful with losing weight, okay? It can take time. It can be a little bit tedious. And it can be sometimes difficult to do, especially starting out, writing out exactly everything that you're doing. And you can do an old school method. You can write it down on pen and paper. You can track things online. There's things on your phone that you can use. So you don't always have to just write everything down, because that will take a little bit of time, all right? But food journaling is so, so important. Why do you think that that is an effective method?
It makes you aware of what you're eating.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my dad, he retired a few years ago, worked all the time. He refereed also, and when he retired, he gained about 50 pounds, and was like, "What? I don't understand where this is coming from." So he actually took the time and he wrote down everything that he was eating and how much sodium, how much sugar, and he was eating double the amount of what you should really be eating. Okay, and when he was working up all the time on his feet, refereeing at night, that worked for him because he was burning a lot of calories off throughout the day. So it's so, so, so crucial to make sure that you are being aware, and you have to be true and honest, okay? You can't say, "Oh, I'm not going to write that one down today." You have to write down every little thing. You have to really be accurate. But yeah, my dad ended up losing a lot of weight just food journaling. So I really do see that success in this. So it's a really, really good tool to use. And this is one example of how to do it, kind of this, checklist that we went over with the Choose My Plate method. All right, so we talked a little bit about balancing your meals and snacks, and I talked about that with the plate. So you're not going to get every portion with this. We want to think about what portions we ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then divvy the other 2 up with your snacks. Okay, but this is important. We want to focus on things like protein, fiber, carbs, and fats. Obviously, healthier fats and healthier carbs. Okay, so carbs are fruits and vegetables. We also have other carbs, things like what? Potato chips. Yes. Yeah, baked goods, pastas. Those are what we want to be a little bit more aware of. All right, so these are some good examples here for you. Breakfast is definitely important. We want to break it down with a protein and a fiber. Okay, so kind of these 2 categories here. Also adding fruit to the side would be a really good addition to that. So you can see some examples there. Eggs and whole wheat toast, cottage cheese and fruit, walnuts and oatmeal. So you can see it's breaking down with a protein and a fiber. Protein keeps you longer. Fiber helps break down that food, helps with digestion. Okay, so we can see lunch broken down here, kind of focusing on these food groups here. All right, so tuna, black beans on a salad, turkey on whole wheat bread with carrot sticks, hummus on whole wheat wrap with vegetables. And obviously, you can add kind of a fruit to the side of that as well. All right, and then rounding out the same thing with dinner. So some examples there for you. Salmon with brown rice and a steamed broccoli. Grilled chicken with baked potato and a side salad. Tofu over quinoa with stir-fried veggies. Okay, so some good healthy options there. If you don't like tofu, skip that tofu one. All right, so we talked a little bit about snacks. So how many calories should our snacks actually be? So when we're thinking about snacks, we want them to be about 100 to 200 calories. So that is on the lower side. Our snacks do not need to be big sized portions. All right, so we want to use them to supplement your diet with those nutrient-packed foods. So again, thinking about kind of that plate and breaking down your portions. So there's some good options there. One that I'll point out specifically is just the yogurt. Just be cautious of what yogurt you're buying. Take a look at your food label, okay? Make sure you're looking at what added sugar they're adding to that product. Okay, you can get really good yogurts out there, and then you can also get some that are extremely high in sugar, so just be cautious of that. Okay, so drinking water is extremely important, especially when we're thinking about sugar. Okay, so sugar is in a lot of beverage choices these days, so that's where a lot of that really comes into play. So choosing water more often is a good solution. How much water should we be drinking a day?
64 ounces.
Okay, yeah. So 8 to 12 8-ounce glasses is really kind of that standard recommendation. It's going to vary from person to person, which is why no one's that strict on those numbers. But definitely just make sure that you're drinking enough. Okay, I would at least recommend those 8-ounce glasses. Okay, so we talked a lot about nutrition. I just want to touch base on this briefly. But exercise is important, guys. We really see research shows that both of them are needed for healthy weight loss and managing weight. So a lot of it does have to do with nutrition, but we also need that physical activity benefit. All right, so what do you think what are some benefits of exercise?
To lose the weight.
Okay, to lose weight. Usually it just makes you feel good. It releases endorphins in your body. Gets maybe go outside. You get the benefit of the sunlight, the vitamin D as well. It's a good stress reliever. So exercise is great. I mean, I know you've heard it before, but it's never going to go away. The research is always going to show that we need exercise. We need it for our bodies. Okay. So 150 minutes weekly, 30 minutes 5 days a week is how that's broken down. That's your cardiovascular activity. So there's some examples there for you. Cardiovascular activity improves lung function, improves heart health, reduces the risk of chronic disease. So cardiovascular activity, things like running, cycling, walking, anything that's getting your heart rate up. Strength training is really important when we're thinking about weight loss. Okay, and this really helps us lose weight and manage weight. So we want to do this about 2 times a week, 8 to 12 reps of whatever you're doing. So things like resistance bands, weights, any body weight exercise. Okay, we're running a little bit low on time, so I'm just going to kind of wrap up here. All right, so maintaining your weight, I just want to point out this website or this study. This is really good. So if you ever think like weight loss is just like, you just can't do it. You might have tried it before. You're like, no one can do it. Can't do it the healthy way. It's just not happening for me. So the National Weight Control Registry is a really good place to go to get some inspiration. Okay, and I have the website at the end of the slide here. So this is a really nice place to go. Registrants, they lost an average of 66 pounds, and they've kept it off for over 5 years. So it's just giving you some positive feedback that it can happen, and it can work. So 98% of them, what did they do? They modified their food intake in some way. 94% of them increased their physical activity. Some other common denominators throughout, so things that we should be focusing on when we're thinking about losing weight. 78% of them ate breakfast. 75 weighed themselves once a week, so keeping track of how our success or maybe not successes. 62% watch less than 10 hours of TV weekly, so their screen time is very low. And then 90% exercise about 1 hour per day. So you can see, a lot of the things that we went over, this is what individuals have done, and they've seen success with it. And they've managed to keep that weight off as well by continuing to do these things. So I always like to point that out. Okay, to wrap up here, just pointing out some of our resources as well. Our Capital Blue retail stores, we do have locations in Enola and then the Allentown area, so good places to go and get some feedback there. Our HealthWise knowledge base you can find and access online on our wellness page, has a lot of good information on nutrition and physical activity. And then Blue 365 is just ways for our members to get different discounts, so make sure that you're always checking those. These are a few apps to check out. So we talked about tracking, okay, writing things down. MyFitnessPal is a great one to research into. It'll help you kind of keep track of your calories, things along those lines. There's all sorts of ones out there, though. Go out and research, on the App Store. Find whichever one suits you best. And then lastly, just to point out here, the last link there is the National Weight Control Registry. So I just want to point that one out since we discussed that today. The others are good resources to go to as well. Also, choosemyplate.gov is another good one. That's where we can find this information here. But the National Weight Control Registry is a really good website to go and just get some positive inspiration. Okay, and any questions for me? I know we went through it's a lot of information, packed into a little bit of time, but hope you guys learned some good things.
Thank you, Jan.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.